Serious. Guys of Reddit, why did you reject the pretty girl? Story 1. I accidentally turned down a girl I had a massive crush on in middle school. I convinced myself she was the one I was going to end up with, marry, etc. Turns out she actually liked me too, and her brother would literally walk past me at school and yell, "My sister likes you!" But I just assumed he was trolling me or something. Well, one day we were on the train home after school and her friend suddenly and mysteriously disappeared to another carriage, leaving her and I alone together. She asked, "Hey, I was wondering, do you have a crush on me?" As she leaned in, hopefully, for my answer. How did I react to the situation? I started rummaging through my school backpack, pretending I was looking for something, and changed the subject to some dumb thing that my brother did on the weekend. She leaned back in her seat and looked visibly disappointed. Now, why did I do this, you ask? Because I'd heard the statistics of how unlikely relationships were to last if they started at that age, so I told myself we weren't ready yet. I was going to wait 5 more years until we left school before I made my move. Because then it would last, I told myself. Of course, I waited so long that she eventually lost interest and we drifted away. Yeah, teenage me had some strange ideas about love and relationships. When I was in high school, my best friend was a girl who I had a massive crush on and who clearly had one on me as well. But teenage me was the type to have a new girlfriend every couple of months, and I didn't want to turn my best friend into another ex-girlfriend. We're 30 now. We have been dating for a year and a half and plan on getting married next year. Story 2. I grew up in a summer resort town, and a girl my age would spend summers at a cottage in my neighborhood. She always had a boyfriend, like since she was 12, because she was an absolutely beautiful girl. We got along well in our teens and into college, but I wouldn't say that we had a flirty friendship or anything like that. I just always felt like she was out of my league, and also me and my brothers were good friends with her other siblings and cousins. Summer before my senior year in college, mid 90s, we met up for drinks with a few other people from our neighborhood. She casually mentions that she's broken up with a boyfriend a few weeks before, but I didn't really think anything of it. I noticed she kept cozying up to me and eventually asked me to walk her home. We kissed, and she told me that she had always liked me. And then we started dating just before going back to college. After like 3 times together, I realized that I had never really been alone with her, and that she had always had the personality of an 8-year-old, constant baby talk, and she only watched cartoons at Disney Channel. She was incredibly awkward around my friends, like non-functional in conversations. We had absolutely no common interest whatsoever. We couldn't even go to the movies together because she had trouble with anything above a PG rating. We ended up dating for about 5 months, but I just couldn't take it anymore. Some of my friends still give me a hard time for dumping the hottest girl I had ever seen, but we all have our limits, I suppose. TLDR, ended up dating a lifelong crush in my early 20s, and it felt a lot like babysitting, so I dumped her. Never meet your heroes. That's what happens when you're in a constant relationships from a young age. I had an ex like that. We were 22, and she still acted like a 14-year-old. It's like arrested development. People need time to be single and improve themselves. Story 3. Being pretty can only get you so far. Personality keeps it going. The girl I like is absolutely gorgeous, but her personality is what keeps me so into her beyond how she looks. She's the only person I can have a long conversation with. Now, if only I was gorgeous and had a good personality. Story 4. In college, I didn't make a move on a former homecoming queen who now is a Broadway actress, despite her putting overt moves on me first. I'd like to say it's because I had my eyes set on the quirky, artistic girl instead. It's true, I did choose to date that quirky art girl right after, but that wasn't it. I'd like to say it was because I found out the only reason she put the moves on me at all was because I'm a dead ringer for her ex-boyfriend. That was also true, but it wasn't the reason. The reason I didn't reciprocate her moves was because I was chicken shit terrified, and she was, and still is so far out of my league, I'd need an Amtrak ticket to get within a point. Sometimes it do be like that. I'd like the record to show that she is a delightful person, and the whole I look like her ex thing, while kinda weird, was not really an indication of anything beyond her having a type, I suspect. Now she's with a totally cut actor dude, and I am not a totally cut actor dude. I have a belly and tattoos and a mustache. Leagues don't exist, my man. It's all in your head. Story 5. I was gonna go with the opposite of everyone else here. She was perfect, beautiful, fun, funny, loving, interesting, motivated, supportive, successful. Maybe not perfect, but her imperfections made her more lovable. How obsessive she would get over little things. Her temper when defending me, her stubbornness in switching our meals at a restaurant if mine looked better. She taught me that even a 10 out of 10 woman is still a human being, with all the same insecurities and idiosyncrasies as everyone else. It wasn't her that was the problem, it was me. The problem was that I had learned that relationships just aren't for me. I had everything you could ask for, and no matter how much I lied to myself and tried to adapt and change and fit the mold, I just couldn't be happy. Not because she was asking me to, or wanting me to, or forcing me to, far from it, but because I was struggling to give her what she deserved. I was so unhappy, and more miserable by the day. The breaking point for me was when I realized I was changing her. She was adapting to suit me and becoming someone who wasn't happy either and changing into someone she was not. And I realized that it wasn't fair. She deserved someone better. I also realized this was a streak with me. All girls I would see and date would come back to this point for me. And when I finally accepted the idea that I don't ever want to be married or have kids, it felt like a huge rock lifted off of my chest and I can finally breathe. My future feels like blue sky mountain air, free and bright. I know society teaches you that being single means you're a loser, that love and togetherness is where the heartbeat of life is, and that loneliness is normal. But I've stopped accepting that bullshit. I never feel lonely, ever. I have lots of relationships with friends and family and have more than enough love, and more than I deserve, frankly. And I feel like I've succeeded because I have what so few get. I understand what makes me happy. I think she's moved on now, and instead of being jealous or upset, I couldn't be happier because I loved that girl and I want her to be happy, and I'm happy she's in a relationship that accepts her as she is and fulfills her needs. And I love being single. I know COVID is rocking people, and I'm sorry to hear it, but I feel like I'm so fortunate to be a person who is perfectly happy in his own company and never tire of it, and I never will. Story 6. Because she would only create more problems than I already had. Because her soul was a garbage can. You're going to regret that when you're carrying an empty bag of Doritos for 40 minutes and not a trash can in sight. Because the first words out of her mouth were, "I smell Coke on you." I was, in fact, not carrying Coke at the time. Pepsi guy, eh? Story 7. Because I was into the slightly less pretty girl who I was also friends with and who actually seemed to care about me other than for physical reasons. People care about you for physical reasons. Story 8. I had a huge crush on this girl in high school. Tried hanging out with her for close to a year, always hoping she would see me as something more than just a friend. When that didn't really work out, I decided to just go for it and I asked her to prom. She didn't say yes right away, but she did say yes. I quickly figured out that she was going to prom because she was excited to go to prom, not because she wanted to go with me. I lost interest after that and started dating another girl. Interestingly enough, it was a girl that I danced with at that prom who told me while we were dancing that she really liked me. Are you still together? Story 9. When I was in high school, one of the hottest girls jumped into my arms, kissed me, and asked me to be her boyfriend. I thought it was a joke and said no. I rejected her because I was an oblivious idiot. To all the teens that may be reading this, shoot your shot. If a girl or a boy you like is paying attention to you and you catch a vibe, stop thinking and go for it.